Plants have various ways of reproducing. Some plants sexually reproduce through the process of pollination. This means that pollen is delivered to the female organs of the plant to produce seeds. To achieve pollination, plants usually depend on animals, especially insects, wind and water to transfer pollen. The Hybertia species has a restricting flower shape which can only release pollen by a certain type of behavior, called buzz pollination, which is performed by the blue-banded bee as well as other native Australian carpenter bees. To release the pollen, the bee grabs onto the flower and vibrates until the pollen comes out. The wattle does not need any adaptations to attract insects, as it produces large amounts of light pollen from small flowers and relies on the wind to carry it. The female organs of the plant are adapted to catch the pollen in the air to allow for reproduction to occur. Seed dispersal is when the seeds of a plant are removed and taken to another location. The Cadagia eucalyptus's seeds contain a resin which is used by meliponene bees for building their nests. This resin causes the bees to carry the seeds with them, but because these seeds could cause a blockage in their nest, they remove them as soon as they can. If the seed lands in a suitable habitat, it is beneficial to the plant. The watergum seeds have adaptations which allow it to float on water for large or small distances from the parent plant along rivers or larger bodies of water. Sheepspur seeds have tiny hooks which attach to the fur of animals passing by. The animal, without knowing, carries the seeds on its fur over large distances, and eventually they drop off into the ground. Featherspear grass uses wind for seed dispersal. Its seeds are attached to fine hairs which float in the breeze and are easily picked up by the wind and carried hundreds of kilometers away. The Acacia cultiformis plant uses a technique called explosion to disperse its seeds. Once the pod is ripe, it explodes and the seeds are ejected at high speeds away from the parent plant. By using this method, some seeds can be sent up to 2 meters away. Asexual reproduction is when the plants are able to reproduce without producing gametes or sex cells. This allows some plants to be able to survive harsh weather conditions and grow quickly when the time is right. Some plants produce the embryos in the seed asexually, such as kangaroo grass, allowing the new plant to be born identically to the parent plant. Other plants, such as spinifex, grow new plants which are cloned from parts of the parent plant through vegetative reproduction. Spinifex has long thin stems which grow horizontally along the surface of soil. New leaves and roots, called plantlets, are produced at each node which subdivides into new plants. The parent plant provides nutrients to the newly developing plant, which is advantageous. The calandria plant produces through the form of budding, which is one of the more unusual forms of asexual reproduction. Budding is when a new plant is developed as an outgrowth of the parent plant. The calandria produces tiny plantlets along the edges of its leaves, which then break off and form new plants.